Hey everyone, this is Alex from ninjateacher.com and I'm out here in beautiful Sapa, and I thought this would be a great spot to do a list of the top 5 most beautiful places to go in Vietnam, specifically northern Vietnam, because if you're living and teaching English in Hanoi and you want to go out and experience the country, it's a great base to go out to all these spots. And that's what I've been doing, living here for 6 months, and that's a great thing to do. Also, if you're just traveling, you can use Hanoi as a base, go from there and travel around a bit and see all these spots. So without talking any more than I have to, let's crack straight into the list. So number 5 is Koloa, Citadel, which is just outside of Hanoi. So this is really nice for a short trip. It's only about 16 kilometers, so it takes less than an hour to get there. And you can just go ahead and check it out in an afternoon or morning. Nice little day trip outside of the city. Very cheap too. Entrance is about 20,000 dong, I think it was, so about $1. You can just go and check it out. And when you do that, you can just go look around. It's actually the old center of Hanoi. So this was where, hundreds of years ago, the capital of Hanoi was. And you can see all the old buildings that were used by the king and, used during that period of time. And it's a nice little trip to do. I'd recommend it just if you want to do something nice and easy. So that's number 5. Then we have number 4, which is Perfume Pagoda. And this one is quite cool. It's a little bit further outside of the city, maybe about 60, 70 kilometers. So it will take you about a morning to get there, especially if you're on your motorbike. It's not going to be a long ride in terms of, getting out the city, but, maybe an hour to a little bit more than an hour, maybe 2-3 hours. And that's going to be a nice trip to do if you leave early in the morning, you want to do a day trip outside of the city. It's really beautiful there. There's some caves, there's a temple. You can take a boat trip down the river. Watch out for the ladies that might try to hustle you there to get on a boat. They're going to charge you, but that's only about 100,000 dong each. So that's, $4 or $5 per person. The boat ride's kind of nice, maybe not quite worth that, but if you go along, they'll take you to the foot of the Perfume Pagoda, and then you can go hiking up, and it is very beautiful. So for me, that's number 4. Gas plus entrance to the pagoda, you got to pay about 40,000, which is about $2. So not too bad. Overall, you can just go and do a nice little trip outside the city, and definitely a very beautiful spot. Then we have number 3, which is Ninh Binh. And now I think we're getting to the point where you would want to be taking overnight trips. The one that I mentioned before, Perfume Pagoda, you could actually stay there overnight if you wanted to be less rushed. But this one is definitely somewhere you do want to, because it will take the whole morning to get there if you're driving by motorbike, maybe 3, 4, 5 hours even, and then you don't want to be driving that all the way back the same day. You want to stay over and come back the next day rather. So that's cool. You can stay there in a hostel. We stayed in this place called Eco Lodge, which was beautiful, really nice, and it was less than $10 each for the night. And we hiked up the mountain, hung out with the dragon on top of the mountain. Amazing, beautiful views. Highly recommended. And, if you go, and we worked it out, $30 for the entire trip, not bad at all. So you can watch the whole video that I made on that. Very cool road trip video. So watch that if you want to get more of a sense what it's like. Alright, then number 2 is Ba Vi National Park, and this was absolutely beautiful. Could have come up number 1 for me. Personally, I loved it. You can take a motorbike ride there. It's not very far outside the city either, 60 kilometers, so you can do a day trip. And going there and on your motorbike and going up the mountain spirals all the way up. You can feel it getting cold as you go up. And then getting to the top where you can go into the pagoda with the little rickety stairs and get a view from there. Of course, it does depend on the weather. We were lucky to be there when there was just absolutely stunning views. Amazing. So that's why it was such a highlight for me. But I think most people would enjoy it, just, to check it out. But yeah, absolutely one of my favorite trips. Also made a road trip video out of this one, so check that one out. Beautiful, beautiful spots. And number 2 on the list for me. And then number 1, and you guessed it, I'm here in Sapa. If you can tell from the scenery, I'm not sure if you can, but it is absolutely awesome. We are here for a 3-day trip, and I think that's a good time to see a lot of it. And we've spent a lot of it just doing motorbike rides. So I think you can see a common theme in all these. The list is, if you take a motorbike and you explore Vietnam, it's absolutely beautiful. You can come out here on a bus. We actually took the bus from Hanoi to Sapa, which is only about $18 there and back. And it takes the morning to get there. It's a far way out of the city, right at the top by the border of China. And you can actually take a trip into China from here. But it's amazing. The town is magical. It's a little town in the mountains. You're actually so high up that it seems like it's misty all the time, but it's actually that you're just in the clouds. You're in the clouds because it's so high up. From Sapa, you can see across to Fancy Pan Mountain, aka Fancy Pants Mountain, which is actually the highest mountain in Vietnam. So if you want to hike up that, it's usually a 2-3 day trip to hike up. But that's something you can do, or you could take trips into the local villages. And it's really interesting because there's the local people who live here, the Hmong and the Dao, and they aren't even Vietnamese. They are their own people, and they live up here in the mountains. They sometimes just cross over to China and back, and you'll find that you'll see them all around with their headgear and outfits. Really beautiful. And that's one of the awesome things about this place, the people. And you can go into the villages, do homestays in the villages if you want, live with the people for a night. We're not actually doing that, but we've taken these trips further than I think most people go. So right now we've actually just been driving for hours and just got out here to the spot, and it's amazing. So you can do that. You can explore around the town, take trips into the villages, and this is hands down one of the most awesome places I've been. So I really can't say enough about it. So number 1 for the list, delicious food. You can get barbecue, Vietnamese hot pots, and I would really recommend coming out here. Take a few days to explore. It's really worth renting motorbikes to go out past, where the majority of tourists will just kind of walk to and get to, so you can actually see what it's really like. And if you go quite far, you can see how the Hmong people actually live, and you can meet some locals and stuff. In terms of cost for Sapa, as I mentioned, $18 for a round trip there and back on the bus. Then you can pay anything from $15 for a 2-person hotel room to maybe $30 per night. You can get some nice accommodation if you spend a little bit more. There's some hostels around, so you can do it a little bit more cheaply too. And you're probably going to spend a little bit more than in Hanoi on food. Meals are a little bit more expensive, but not ridiculous. And that is honey duck here in Sapa with chicken salad and veg curry. So, anything that you'll spend on food and plus accommodation. Renting motorbikes is about 100,000 dong per day. which is only $4 or $5. So not expensive, and you can just drive out and experience the countryside from there using motorbikes. And yeah, right now we're just gonna carry on our trip, head back to Hanoi soon. So this is just a few of the awesome things that you can do out here while you're living in Hanoi. And if you're just traveling around, you know, you can use Hanoi as a center base and then go from here out into the mountains, into the different spots in northern Vietnam. And I'll just make a quick mention of Halong Bay, which some people might have thought would be on this list. A lot of people love it. Very similar to Ninh Binh in the kind of geographical structure of the mountains. They stick up, you know, out of the land, except in Halong Bay, it's out of the sea. And you can take these boat trips through there. So a lot of people love that. I personally just haven't done it yet because it's one of the more touristy ones and I've stayed away from it. But I've heard good things from my experience, from hearing other people's experiences. The best thing to do is make sure you go with a boat trip with a good group of people. If you want to do the infamous Castaway tour, you can do that. That's a big party one where if you're not a big drinker, I wouldn't recommend that one. But yeah, you can go ahead and do those. It's also meant to be a great trip, so that's kind of just an extra mention there. So yeah, that's it from us out here in beautiful Sapa. So hope you enjoyed that list, and I'd highly recommend coming out to either teach or just travel around. Great spots. So I'll speak to you soon. Check out my free training on how to get started teaching English in Hanoi, in Vietnam. It's a great thing to do, so you can check that out if you're interested. And that's all for me for now. Alex from ninjateacher.com. Speak to you soon. Cheers.